All right, thank you. So this is to go through like a cheat sheet, to be honest. So in case you are looking for commands or how to write some of these particular statements, right, in C#, right? So this is what I'm going to go through, right, so that you can be able to use as a reference point, okay? So, and it's really, really good so that you can look into that. For instance, if you want to declare or instantiate your driver, which we've done before, and you can say webdriver, driver is equal to new from driver. This is for, sorry, apologies, 1 minute. Let me get a home. Okay. All right. So yeah. So this is to go through the like a summary like a guide, to be honest. So cheat sheets to help you when you are writing your automation code actually or statement. For instance, when you want to write instantiate your driver, you will just say, oh, you put the using at the top, and you can now say webdriver driver is equal to new Chrome driver. The same thing for Firefox as well, right? But before you do that, you need a Nugget package, okay? So you need to add the Selenium.webdriver Chrome driver Nugget package as well. So the same thing for if you want to use Firefox, you would add the Nugget package. You add Selenium.mozilla. So yeah. And also you would then use your using.
Marina. 110, get it.
You will use your using OpenKeyway Selenium Firefox, and you instantiate your Firefox driver. Yanu, can you be muted, please? Thank you. Then, this is a very, very old, library anyway. So Phantom.js is I don't think it's used again anyway. So, but yeah, it's basically used for JavaScript before, I think in a while ago anyway. So, and also for IE is it's not commonly used right now. So you use Edge actually for that. So it's the same way anyway. What you just need to do is, Edge driver, instead of Internet Explorer driver anyway. So, okay, this is the Edge one anyway. So, yeah. So now locators, different way to locate your element. I think we spoke about this anyway. So the first one is a class. One thing that I said, class normally are not always unique. So you will run away from class in most cases. The first one that you want to try will be the ID anyway. I would say it will be the ID. When ID is not possible, right, you would then do CSS selector or XPath, right? If you ask me, I would rather just go with XPath or CSS, to be honest, either one, because even with CSS, it will still consider your ID anyway. So, and that's the first thing I can say. So if you want to locate your element, you can ignore this anyway that is there. You can just say, if you're like driver.findElement, then by class name, then the name of the class, by CSS, then the CSS that you copy and paste from the inspector, right? So the same way by ID, then the ID that you are using. So, and if it's a link that you are trying to click on, so the best one to do is to kind of use the link test. Of course, you need to establish that link is unique, so that, for instance, if you have the home, right, and you have several homes on your page, you want to click on the right one. So maybe link test might not be the right thing to do. You need to have a different way to locate the right link, okay? But link test is for clicking on the link, and partial link text is for clicking on a partial text of that link. Let's say you have about us, right? You only want to say, okay, click on about, right? You only want to use about, so you use partial link text for that. So you don't care about the auth. So you use partial link text. So the name also is, of course, there's a tag called name, and you can use by name as well. And you want to also use by tag name, whether input, div, or LIUL, but of course, this is not also always reliable. One thing I can tell you, no matter the locator that you use, ensure that that locator is unique. By unique, I mean you get one of one, okay? When you try to kind of find the locator, you get one of one. You are not getting a lot. So, and that is that. So, and okay, another one that we've not talked about is having multiple elements, right? So in case you have multiple elements, you have maybe one of two, one of three, or a lot of element returning, and you are not able to get one of one at most, okay? So what you could do, you could use find elements, okay? So find element will give you an array of that element, okay? You might return 3 or 4, you will put them in an array. Then after that, you can loop through the array and then you can find the one that you are looking for, right? So this is how to do it, okay? Read, you can say read only collection. Also, you can also use what's it called? List as well. Yeah. So you can use the list, you can use the read-only collections, okay? Then web element, the name of the array that you are creating. And then you can say, you don't need to put this anyway, so you can use this particular this away from all this. So, and you can say driver.find elements, then by, you can use XPath anyway, so it's not that you have to use tag name. So you can use XPath, you can use CSS, okay, and you can find it. So the only thing that you will return an array of those elements for you. So now, so this is basically if you want to search an element inside another, right? So 1 minute. So I just want to let me reduce this one so that I can see the end of it. Okay. So now what I am doing right now is to say, how can I find an element inside another element? You can see this is an element already, yeah. So once this element is found, inside this element, there's another element called tag A, actually. So, but to be honest, run away from this if you can anyway, unless you've tried the other step and nothing happened. So that's where you can use this particular one. So because this might also make your test to be kind of spaghetti-ish, to be honest, because with this, you can just use CSS and say div/A anyway. So, or sorry, div greater than A, or use XPath div./A. So that's, but if you are forced to use inside another element, this is how to do it anyway. So now, quickly to go through basic operator, I've discussed this anyway. So if you want to locate element by ID, so you locate your element by ID. And once you find the element, you can click on the element. You say element by element.click, right? So that's how to do it. I think we've actually done similar thing. So once your element is this, then you can say element.click. Or you can say driver.find element by ID, then .click. So you get it now. So if you want to type anything, you say .send key, okay? So when you find your element, at the end, you say .send keys. That is how you're going to type anything into a field, right? So if you want to clear a field, right, you say element.clear. That means you want to erase everything. So element.submit will submit that element. But to be honest, this is not widely used anyway. So instead of saying .submit, you could just kind of click on submit button or you click on enter button, whatever that button is there. But you can also use this if you don't want to click on the button that's there anyway. Then after that, so if you want to get a text of an element, okay, if you want to get a text of an element, so for instance, you want to use that text to inspect or to validate or to show that that element is there. So the text of an element, you just, after you've kind of do your driver.find element, or you use this approach, you can say element.text and you can store them inside a string. that will give you the element, the text of that element, okay? And if you want to ensure that, if you want to validate that the element is enabled or disabled or displayed, you will just say element dot enabled. If the element is enabled, it will return true for you, and you can validate it. If the element is disabled, you still use the same thing, element dot enable. But if disabled, this will return false for you, right? So you don't have element dot disable, you only have element dot enable, because enabled will return true if that element is enabled. It will return false if that element is disabled. Okay. Now, if the element is displayed, you will use element dot displayed, right? So if that element is displayed, it will return true, and you can store it in a Boolean. And if the element is not displayed, you would return false. And if you have an options or drop down, you want to confirm that element is selected, you can also use element dot selected. That would kind of return true for you if that element is selected. And if it's not, it will return false for you. So, and now, okay, most of you might also want to use an option or select element, okay, like a drop down. If you want to use drop down, there are two commands that you have to use. This is for drop down, okay? So if you want to use drop down, what you need to do, you first kind of instantiate it first, okay? You write these statements as it is, one. So element, select element, select is equal to new, and the element goes inside. You can put this, like find element, or you do this like that. So for instance, now, if I don't want to use this long method, I can just copy this, and replace it with my element inside. Yeah. So this is another way to do it. Then I don't need to do this. But if I don't do that, I can write my element like this first, right? Depending on the locator, you can change the locator, right? Then after that, this element now, you can now do this. So this is the first step. You got your element. The second step, you instantiate your select element. Then after that, you want to select, right? I'm talking about drop down now. So you want to now select the right drop down. For instance, you can select by index. So saying number 1, number 2, number 3. So you just say select dot. So this is based on select here. So that's what you're saying. Select element in position 1. That is what you're saying. So if you want to select by text, so in the drop down, you want to say select dot select by text. What is the text that you want to select? Right, that is that. And a select object or drop down also would also have a value. It can have a text. A text is what you see that is displayed. A value, you will see that in the DOM. When you go into the code you expect, you can see the value. You can also select by value that the developers are actually waiting for it, right? If you want to deselect everything, right, you can you want to clear everything. So you can use select dot deselect all, or you want to deselect by index, or you want to deselect by text. What you've done at the top, you can also use deselect by to also kind of negate what you've done. And also you've got options as well, okay? It's also similar to what you've done at the top anyway. So, but in a little twist, okay? So you have your element that you've created, right? So, and now you have web element, select option is equal to select. So now you want to have an options, okay? So, and your options that you select will be in a list, okay? So you want to have all the elements that you've selected, all the options that you've selected. So this one would now store it in a list, right? You want to get all the selected options. So this is for a checklist, okay? Not a drop down, because for a drop down, you might only want to select one. But if you have a checklist that you select like that, so you want to use all this. So you might not need to use this anyway, because this is a bit technical anyway. But in case you find yourself that you have to select you have to work with everything that is selected, because what it's going to do is like it's going to now take everything that you have selected, put them in a list, and you can work with that list if you want to do that. So another thing that you also could use now, advanced element operator. So let me reduce this font. Okay. Okay. Now let's go to advanced stuff actually now. So there's something that you have to do a bit advanced anyway. So, and I think, yeah, one of you guys already asked about this. So I'm going to also let you know, right? So let's say we want to drag and drop actually. So that's another thing. So you have a station whereby you want to drag an element, you want to drop them as well. So to a particular location, and that's another thing. So you would need your elements, right? You declare your elements, like let's say this is the element now. So the same thing that you've done before anyways, just locate the elements. And now you would have an action instantiated, right? So you will write this like that anyway. So, but bear in mind, this is our object, new object that we've kind of instantiated. So our action is equal to that. And this is our driver. So now what you now need to do is it needs to say move, which is this one. So if you change this one, then the name that you gave, yeah, should be the same one you are going to use, okay? So, and you said move dot drag and drop to offset. So your element, which is the element you declare here, you need to put that back here. And then your dimension, where you want to drop that particular element. So now it's 30, 0, right? So the element will move where it was before, and it will drop at 30, 0. So this is X and Y axis, okay? So that's where you want to draw, and you then put dot perform at the end. So another thing that you could also do, okay, let's see. Let me also reduce this one. Okay. Another thing that you could also do is to check if element is visible. If element is visible, what you just need to do, I've explained this. So the same way we've done at the top right, I think I showed you, yeah, where's that? Is visible. Yeah, elements is displayed, yeah. So it's the same way, but this is now a full one, right? If you are using NUnit, to assert, right? You just say assert dot is true. Your element that you've inspected, everything here now, everything is your element, then dot displayed. So this will give you true if that element that you've put in this is displayed, and it will be false if it's not displayed, okay? Then this is also another thing that you want to do if you want to upload the file. Some people think it's kind of difficult to upload the file. It's not, okay? So if you want to upload the file, what you need, one, inspect your elements. You write iWeb element, blah, blah, like that. So whether you want, yeah. So then where is the location of the element that you want to upload? String, file path, the element, yeah, the file, the location of the file, right? Then the next thing is just send keys. But you could as well just copy this file. Yeah, just copy the art here. You don't need to worry. It's called verbatim, actually, because that's another thing. I think someone also mentioned that right now. So, okay, let's assume that this is got a slash like that. So with the art, you don't need to do double slashes, okay? Because slash is a special character and in C#. But if you put it in quote and you put the art at the beginning, it just verbatim. It's just telling the computer that take everything as it is. Don't look at them as code. That's the purpose of the art. So it's, yeah. Okay. So, and yeah, so you could just do something like, if you don't want to use this approach, you could just do it like that. Copy this and replace it with file path. If you do that, you don't need this line again. You don't need this line again, basically. But this is another way to do that. So you only need this line and this line, basically. Okay. So to focus on a control, right? And to, yeah, so I think someone already mentioned this, and I explained you have to use JavaScript. This is the code, actually. So if you want to scroll to a particular element, and so that it has the focus, actually. Let's say the element that you want to scroll down, you want to scroll up. This is another thing to use. So if you want to scroll down, locate an element to scroll to, right? And you can use this. So what you need to do is, yeah, so locate the element. You can locate the element. So this will be your driver, basically. Locate the element with this particular line, okay, up to here. So the same way you say driver.find element by whether ID, XPath, whatever that is. So you locate the element and store it in your web element. And now it's called a link, right? So what you now need to do is, here now you see what we have here. So JavaScript JS, blah, blah. So scroll to 0.0 and then link to locator Y, okay? So if you want to change that, you put the locator where you want it to scroll to, and then you would kind of execute the code, okay? And if you want to click on that element, then you can click on it anyway. So, but that will scroll to that particular location anyway, yeah. Now, another thing that you may want to do is to take a screenshot, right? Let's say your test has passed or failed. You want to take a screenshot, okay? So, and this is the step to take a screenshot, okay? So what you do is web element. So your elements, and then also you locate your elements the same way, okay? So, and you want to take a screenshot, you can, yeah. So crop the area, rectangle, right? So you can see this is where I use my elements, location, and size, okay? So now, after that, you can take a bitmap, okay? So, and then you save it in that. But however, I think right now, there's another library that Selenium now provides that allows you to take screenshots anyway, which is quite simpler and straightforward to use. But this is the conventional one anyway. But there's a new way to that. It's really simple, actually. I think is screenshots. I will look into that and I'll send it to you. So there's another one that you can also use, but if not, this one also kind of works as well. So I've looked into this. Yeah, how to focus on the control. Wait for visibility. Also, in some cases, you might want to wait for an element to be visible, right? So let's say the element is taking a lot of time and it's not visible. So what you could do, and another thing I will come back, we'll talk about different type of weights, implicit weight, explicit weight, flange weight. Yeah, there are different type of weights that you can use, but this one is basically explicitly waiting for an element, okay? So, and you say webdriver wait, and you call it this particular name, okay? You can use a different name anyway, but conventionally, you just say wait, and then you now instantiate it, okay? And you put how many seconds that you want it to wait. This is for 30 seconds. So, and wait until this particular condition is met. Visibility of all elements located by this particular element, okay? So what you are trying to say is that you should wait for 30 seconds, right? Within 30 seconds, if this element is not found, is not visible, then you can continue, right? So that's what he's saying, right? But this element within 30 seconds, if it's found, it would continue, right? It will not wait for 30 seconds, okay? And now basic browser operation, which you might have seen before, right? So now you have driver.navigate to go to URL. Yeah. So, and you can also see there's another art here anyway. So, but you don't need to worry about the art. You can just, yeah. So this is driver.fileElement, go to URL. Yeah. So http google.com. And also you have the to get the title of a page. If you want to get the title of a page, you can say title is equal to driver.title. That will return the title of a page. If you want to get the URL, I think we've used this one already. Anyway, if you want to get the current URL of the driver, you can store them into a string called string is URL is equal to driver.url. And you can even validate it as well. If you want to get the page source, okay, and some people use this because with this, you see everything inside your code, inside the DOM, right? And you can validate and say, oh, if it contains this particular keyword that you are looking for, and that's another thing that you could use as well. Another advanced one, okay, this is also very, very advanced. You want to switch to alerts, you want to switch alerts as well. This is very, very advanced, so you don't need to worry if you don't get this one. So I'm just kind of put it outside anyway. So if you want to work with alerts, actually, so you can see when you go to some website, you see some pop-up and alerts is there. So you want to accept or you want to dismiss the alert. So what you need to do, so it's the same way, just write this statement like that, okay? I alert a driver does switch to alert. So you want to switch to alert first, okay? Because that alert is not part of your DOM. It's not, yeah, you won't say. So after you switch to that particular alert, then you would now say A accept, that is basically yes, or A no, not to accept or to cancel. That's one. And this is another advanced one as well. So, and this happen, I think I saw this in Mentor's Kit as well. So in case you have frames inside your code, right? Or this also is common with Dynamics, actually, and most of the applications that are dynamically created, Microsoft Dynamics has got a lot of frames, windows, and everything. So, and if you have to switch between windows that's open and frame, so you might also want to pay attention to this. But this one, basically, if you have a tab that's open or window that's open, when sometimes you might want to, yeah, so let's leave frame for now. Let's focus on the windows now. So let's say you click on a particular link, another window is open or another tab is opened, and you want to switch into that particular tab, okay, or that particular window. This is how to do it anyway. So, and one, I think there's a key also that can help you. Is it Control Tab or something like that? The one that you can do on your computer that allows you to go into a new window. You can use that as well, right? So you can just do send keys. So, and put the maybe Control Tab or something like that. I've forgotten that. I think it's Control Tab that switch to the next tab. Also, you can do that. You can send it as well and do that. But this is the conventional way anyway. So you write this commands, read only collection the string, window undo, driver, blah, blah. Then if you want to now switch to the first tab, you can now say window undo dot first. If you want to switch to the last tab, you can say window undo dot last. That's another thing. And if you want to switch between those windows, yeah, you can use this one. Then also, if you want to go forth and back on your navigation history, to go back, you say driver.navigate.back. If you want to refresh, you just say .refresh. If you want to go forward again, you just say .forward. That's it. So link text, I think we've actually talked about send keys anyway. So, and I've also mentioned the focus as well. Maximize window, okay. So maximize window, I think some people already done this anyway. So if you want to maximize your window, you can say driver.manage.window.maximize. That's one. To work with cookies, okay, you want to add a new cookie. So of course you need to create a new instance of the cookie like that, and with the key and the value. And then after that, you add your cookies to it anyway. So, and if you want to get all cookies, you just go to var, get all the cookies like that. Anyway, so to delete the cookies and to delete to delete a cookie by name, the name of the cookies, and you can say driver.manage cookies, delete cookies, then you put the name. And to delete all cookies, you would kind of use the same approach, driver.manage cookies, delete all cookies. So that's that. Screenshot. Okay, I think I was talking about this a while ago. Yeah, so to take full screenshot of a page, and I show you the bitmap one anyway, but this is a simpler one actually. So you can see, so now you have screenshot, I screenshot, the driver, take screenshot. This remains the same, it will not change. So what you just need to change is the screenshot, save as, the path that you want to save the screenshot to, and then the name of the screenshot anyway. So that's what you just need to kind of change anyway, the path to the screenshot and the name of the screenshot, and that will save the screenshot to you anyway. So this is quite simpler than the one I explained above. Okay. So wait, I think we also mentioned this one anyway. So after this is another type of wait. So yeah, wait until then returns that. So yeah, so which is I think, yeah. Okay, another thing that was mentioning before was frames also, which I said it's very, very common with dynamics as well with other things, which I've seen in some of the code. So if you want to switch between frames, you can use this command as well. Driver switch to frame. This will switch to the first frame, or you can switch to a particular frame by name, okay? So you are saying driver switch to a particular frame, you put the name of the frame. And that's that. So this is a good example. This is your element, right? And you want to switch to that particular element, the frame of that particular element. So that's another thing. So, and one thing is very, very important that I mentioned this, right? When you switch to a frame, ensure that you return your switch back to the main content, because otherwise, let's say you are in this frame and you want to click something outside the frame, your test will fail. So it's very, very important after you finish what you are doing in that frame to return back to the main frame. So this is how to switch back to the default document or the main page. Actually, just a driver.switch to default contents. Now, profile page. I'll skip. Okay, let me not skip it in case anyone wants to use it anyway. So with Firefox, you can create different profile for different people, right? So that you, even if you are different users as well. So to create profile, all right, so you would kind of create a statement like this, which is fine. But what you now need to do is to get the profile. You will have created your profile manually in Firefox, okay? And then you can then use this profile. So it will switch to that particular profile in Firefox, then your test will run under that profile. So, and you can set proxy as well, okay, in Firefox. So I would, if you want to set proxy, this is how you would do them as well. The same way with HTTP proxy for Chrome as well, if you want to set the proxy. So it's not something that you would do every time anyway. So yeah. So the same way, if you want to also set some of the properties in Firefox as well. So you can set the untrusted certificate to true, untrusted certificate issue to false, whatever. But it's not something that you will use. The same thing applies to the capabilities as well. If you want to set the capabilities, but this is no longer used that much again, to be honest, because with NuGet package, you can, most of these things, right, they kind of done anyway. But you can, of course, sometimes you might want to set your environment variables so that you run your code anonymously anyway. So that's another thing that you could do. But yeah, so this one you don't need to worry as well. So I'll skip that for now. So yeah, you might also want to set the page load timeout actually. So just to say that how many milliseconds or seconds rather you want to wait for your page to time out, actually. So you want to set that anyway. So that's another way to do that. So, and these capabilities, I don't think it's really important for now. I will skip that for a start. So yeah. So these are different advanced things that you could do on the page or on your browsers. Anyway, but yeah, this is basically like yeah, there are some of them are not advanced. So this one are basic what you would do. And these ones are the locators, which I think everyone should know how to locate elements. And the basic thing that you should expect everyone to do on this, you should know how to click, send keys, clears. Yeah, you should know how to validate your code with the text enabled, displayed, and also working with select and also working options. And the rest basically are kind of advancing that you might need to refer to if you need to use it in future. Okay. All right. So that is where we're going to take a pause, and I would ask questions. I will ask if anyone has got any question. I know it might